If you can find this knife in the secondary markets like eBay, your forums, buddies, or any other retailer that might have it, I recommend you buy it. This is the Benchmade Ascent model that was part of their red line for just a very short time, and I think last year, maybe the year prior, they discontinued it and they're no longer listing it. And it's sad because it's such an outstanding EDC and lightweight tactical folding knife, and there's so many good things about it that we need to start covering them. First off is the weight, and it's amazingly light. If we put it on Mr. Digital scale, you'll see that it only weighs about 2.6 ounces. That's pretty light, especially for a blade that's 3.5 inches long. And the reason why is because Benchmade, and I'm going to start with a handle on this knife, is Benchmade on the Ascent wisely chose not to put steel liners in this knife. And I know some of you guys totally want that steel in your knife. I know. I don't. Not at least in this style of knife, which is a lightweight EDC or lightweight tactical. And I'm going to differentiate between the tactical blades here. I'm saying lightweight tactical, and what I mean by that is a blade that is meant to be carried a lot in a tactical role and used very little. And in that case, I want it to be as light as possible. I just reviewed the Applegate combat folder, and this would be a heavy duty tactical. And by the way, I forgot to mention this does have steel liners in its handles. And it's heavier. It's 6.5, 6.8 ounces. But that's a heavy duty folding tactical knife. This to be employed in a situation where the likelihood of using this knife would be much higher. If I were to employ the Benchmade Ascent in that role, then I might be asking too much for it because it's not a steel-lined Zytel knife. However, in an emergency defense role, which I think a lightweight tactical is basically the same thing, it will fill the job just fine. It's awesome. Let's talk about more things of the handle. First off, like I said, no steel liners. Good job. And this competes against the Cold Steel Voyager series, which are also 100% FRN handles. As of yet, 2008, they haven't ruined it by putting steel liners in it. Kind of like Spyderco did with Endura and Delica series. Not ruined, but just added some unneeded weight, in my opinion. Other nice things about the Benchmade Ascent on the handle is the unusual stippling on the molding pattern. It's kind of like the volcano grip of Spyderco. You can see that it does give you a little bit of purchase, not a lot, not too bad. And then it's smooth on this side. And guess why they did that? So they don't have pocket clip issues like the Voyager does. In other words, ripping our pants pockets up. Good job, Benchmade. They get it. Cold Steel, you watching? Hope so. That's what it should be. Now, I'm not against this portion here having some traction molding. That's fine, but just under the clip, let's not have any. Or if we're going to have any, make it very smooth so we don't rip our pants up or our pants pocket. So, not too bad. The overall ergonomics of the handle is comfortable. It's kind of on the narrow side, but again, this is a very lightweight knife. And for all you aficionados of lockbacks, guess what? It is a lockback. There's no locking liner in this knife, so I think and do agree that lockbacks are generally a stronger design. However, if executed properly, I think a liner lock is more than adequate as well. How's the deployment on the Ascent? Well, first the thing I'm going to say is a little bit different as far as deploying because the thumb stud is located higher up on the blade in the closed position than a lot of knives, and that means you're going to have kind of a different arc for deployment, and it took me a little while to get used to that. The thumb stud isn't down here, it's up here, and it means your thumb is going on a longer and more stretched out arc pattern to get that blade out. Now, that doesn't mean that it's bad, it just means you need to get used to it and practice with it. And once you get practice with it, it'll pop out pretty fast. It's just a different arc on the Benchmade Ascent. Not bad. But the deployment speed on itself, or on its own, is pretty darn fast. On par with the Cold Steel Voyagers. Definitely. Another nice thing is, for this price of knife, I think I paid like 40-ish for it or something. be higher or lower, it depends. But notice that it's not a pinned pivot point. This is actually a Torx adjustable pivot point, which is pretty amazing given the price point. And on this side, it's just a flush mounted screw cup that screw screws into. So you don't even have to mess with that side. It's flush and it's flat right here, so this will not rotate as you change your pivot tension. Very nice job. Now, can we take the knife apart? No, we can't. It's molded together. It's pinned right above the lock, so that it is what it is. You can't take the knife apart. But again, this is a very, or was at least, a very affordable knife. I don't have an issue with that. If I did dunk this in salt water, I would just, pour some boiling water on it and get it as clean as best I can. The nice thing is we don't have to worry about nested stainless steel liners, especially the skeletonized variety that tends to hold and trap that salt water. That's when I want to really have to take the knife apart, is if it has stainless steel liners. If it doesn't, I don't worry about it so much. It's 100% Zytel. I can clean this lock. Has a lanyard hold big enough. Nice. I like that. Another advantage of the handle for the Ascent is if, again, we reverse the knife like so it follows the curvature of our thumb, we can hold it and use it as a non-lethal, maybe lethal, depending how we employ it, impact device with this portion right here. That's the good part. Now the bad part gets to where they've mounted the clip. I love how they give you the option, which is amazing at this price point, of where you want to mount the clip, either on the pivot side or on the butt side. Tip up carry, and obviously that's the one I prefer, as you've heard me say many times. I like that, but the downside to that tip right there is they've mounted that clip kind of low on the handle, which is a frequent critique of mine. And that means that I've carried this knife and this thing kind of just sticks on out there. I wish I had Cutlery Lover's pants pocket. I think that's a great idea to show how a knife carries in the pocket. But trust me, this portion right here just sticks out too far. It's kind of obnoxious. Now, that's just a minor critique, but it is a critique. How's the clip itself? Outstanding. It's blackened, strong stainless steel. This is just your typical perfectly executed Benchmade clip as far as the clip itself goes. Look at the profile on it, Cold Steel. That's what you need to do. Thank you very much. Just copy it. It's a great clip. And it's blackened, like all good clips should be. Now let's talk about the blade. I did say the deployment's fast. I didn't tell you about the lockup. It is very solid. I haven't detected any movement in my Benchmade Ascent at all. It's just tight. It just is tight. What can I say? What Benchmade isn't, though, really. They're all that way. The blade itself, 3.5 inches long, and at this price point, amazingly, you get a very quality steel, and that's 440 steel. Good job, Benchmade. Man, it's bad that this knife is gone. It really is, because it's just so much knife for the money. In fact, I think this is probably one of those knives that was cutting into their main line. They're saying, hey, we can't do these red lines anymore because we're not selling our more expensive blades. And that's probably why they got rid of the Benchmade Ascent. But back to the blade. The 440C blade is beautifully stone washed. A very nice stone washed finish on it. You're going to be hard pressed to find that type of finish on a knife of this price point. It's just a beautiful tumbled stone wash finish. I haven't done anything with a grind on this blade. It's as it came from the factory, shaving sharp. It's perfection as it is. The swedge right here is angled. It saves a little bit of weight on that blade. Of course, we cannot sharpen it. It's totally exposed out of the handle, so we just can't do it. Hey, what do you know? It even has a functional thumb ramp with functional jimping on it. So the package gets even better. And what do you know? That jimping is really functional. It digs into your thumb nicely and provides some purchase. Choil area back from the pivot point, not too bad. I kind of wish there was some jimping or maybe indentation closer up, but that's just a function of the design of the blade. So overall, excellent. The thumb stud, I've got no issues with that. It's reversible left to right. You can get a fair amount of traction on it. I wished it was terrace, a little bit sharper than that, so you would get even more traction on it. Benchmade logo on the blade. So, as usual, I'm out of time. That's a 2.4 ounce knife, 440 stainless steel, quick deploying, solid lockup, great pocket clip, good handle, and it's just a sad, sad thing that it's gone. If you can find a Benchmade Ascent, I highly, highly recommend that you buy it. That's Nutnfancy's review of this wonderful knife. Thanks for watching.